songs.
Man, love
and
the Gin Blossoms.
You've got to check out this magazine, the latest issue of Phoenix Magazine, taking us all back to the beloved 90s. Okay, I say that, and that's showing our age probably, right? 30 years ago.
Yeah, you're pretty old. There's no doubt about that. Not Craig and
Our
I.
age more than yours.
Yes, the 90s, a pivotal time for Phoenix and the Valley as a whole. So, Editor-in-Chief Craig Outier joining us live in studio to talk about it with the Phoenix 90s edition.
I
the
love
90s,
this.
That was cool back then.
Hey, I like the 90s.
I did
I'm
too.
sort of a product of it, so I'm
Yeah.
biased. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we go back and do history covers. You know, we did one for the 70s, and I kind of looked, my predecessors did one. They waited 25 years until
Okay.
that decade was over. So we waited 25 years. That was our following distance. I think it's long enough.
Yeah, I think so
absolutely.
too.
Does it
I think
qualify as
One of the-
history now?
You know, one of the things I remember about being here in the 90s the most were the Phoenix Suns and how great they were, and it was the biggest deal to go to a game.
That was one of the themes we took away. The 90s were when Phoenix kind of came into its own as a sports town.
Mm-hmm.
You not only had the Suns going to the finals in 93, and that was, like you said, the only ticket in town at the
It
time.
was,
really
yeah,
was a huge
and
deal.
very expensive and hard to get.
Totally. It's also when the Diamondbacks came on the scene
Yeah.
in 98, and that was really, one of the big changes that took place in the 90s.
So neat to see how sports has just exploded here, I guess, since then, right? I mean, we have
Absolutely.
almost every professional
For
team
a
at this
while
point.
we did, until
Yeah.
the Coyotes
Oh,
took
until
it.
the
But that was
Coyotes.
still a time when downtown wasn't much, was it?
Right. That was another theme, is the
Yeah.
growth that the Valley underwent during the 90s. The population in Greater Phoenix went up by more than 40%, over 1 million people. It was the greatest, migration of people into Arizona in the history of the state, not by percentage, but by overall numbers. We crossed 1 million as a city in 91. That was one of the big takeaways, too. It was just when the Valley just filled in. So.
And then it was, of course, the 90s marks the hottest day of the year ever.
That's right.
Here in Phoenix.
I think that was also 91, wasn't it? Were you here?
I was here.
I
Yeah,
was
I
not,
was.
you
I
were.
was out on the streets working as a reporter.
Yeah, that's one
Oh,
day
yeah.
you wanted to be an anchor.
Yeah, well, so bad.
that had
was
to be miserable.
completely miserable.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was.
And the 90s were an interesting decade. There was a lot of political changes. That was, 93 was the year that MLK Day was adopted. It was also the day or the year that Sheriff Joe took office. It's kind of an interesting dichotomy and
the
really
tent
says a
cities
lot
and
about
all that,
Arizona.
yeah.
And we thought it was a good time to look back and honor that decade. So.
I was saying
fashion as well.
during the commercial, that's when Craig and I used to go out looking for love in all the wrong places.
That's right, in our Steve Madden
Oh,
shoes.
yeah.
And that's why we have to look at Scott from the 90s, a blast from the past.
Yeah,
Look
but
at that young buck.
But Scene is in the magazine, so yeah, Scene McLaughlin.
Yeah, well, Steen was a big deal
Yeah.
in the 90s too.
Yeah.
He was like, my wife
He
was
still
saying,
is, but-
he is, right. My wife was saying that about, she was in high school at the time, college freshman. She was like, oh yeah, he was the guy that we all like, oh, Steen, what's what you got? Isn't that funny? I was like, yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
That is funny.
We should have interviewed her for this.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I think she found her way into the magazine as a source, but not
One of the things that was really interesting when I first moved here, and I think it may have been in the 90s because I got here in '89, I-10 didn't go all the way through.
right.
You had to jog off and go south to like Van Buren or McDowell or
That's
whatever,
crazy
and then,
to think
and
it
then
was
get
a
back
road.
on after you got downtown.
That's right, because the tunnel didn't exist
Right.
at the time, and Margaret T. Hance
wow.
Park didn't exist
That's
at the
right,
time, and that
so-
that was a big thing too. I remember when the 51 was christened, and they let people walk and
Yeah,
bike
right?
the
Yeah.
freeway. And I remember when I first came here, my boss at the time showed me around town. There was no 51. It was like you had to take, Hayden to get. There was no
Wow.
101
Yeah,
either.
right.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, in fact, when they did Margaret T. Hance Park in the tunnel, we did our newscast on the freeway that night
Yeah.
before they opened it the next day.
Right. Fun.
Yeah.
So
Will
what's the
we
biggest
ever
thing?
have another freeway like that? I don't think so. That was the
Well,
freeway.
you never know. The valley keeps growing. What's
right.
the one thing I think you think the biggest, event of the 90s that really made its mark?
I think we really came into our own as a UFO town in the 90s.
Ah.
Yeah,
Good
I mean,
point.
I think before it was sort of New Mexico, Area 51, then the Phoenix Lights in 98.
Yeah, right.
I think really kind of took us
Okay.
to the next level. That was the biggest public UFO mass, I wouldn't say, hallucination event. Maybe it actually did happen, who knows?
Yeah.
But it really kind of set the tone for us. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
And some really interesting political things that happened. Fashion, we didn't even get to talk about that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, that's why we have to pick up the magazine so
There
you
you
can
go.
check it all out. Everything 90s, taking you back
Very cool.
several decades ago.
I love it, Craig. Great
Thanks,
idea.
Craig.
It's a lot of fun to be
It
nostalgic
is.
from time to time.
Sure does make us old, though, doesn't it?
It does. It shows our age, sir.
Maybe you guys are getting old. I'm staying 29.
That's right.
As you
Forever
should.
and ever.
You should.
Good morning.